Good day and welcome to this webinar. My name is Marieke Smit and I'm the Chief Education Specialist at Impact Hospitality Studies. Let's just give a few seconds for everybody to join this webinar. Good day. My name is Marieke Smit once again, and I'm the Chief Educational Specialist at Impact Hospitality Studies. Thank you and welcome to this webinar. Today we are going to look at the very important task, and that is the PAT. We are going to discuss task 11.1 and 11.2. That is the written task and also the practical task. So thank you for joining us. And before we start, I just want to go over a few basic things for you to participate in this webinar. If you can't hear me, please turn up your volume of your speaker. You will automatically be muted when the session starts. If you have any questions, please raise your hand or put your question in the question box for us to answer you. If we don't answer you during the session, please feel free to send an email to academics@impact.co.za for us to assist you. And then also remember that you can download these webinars and also the additional notes in your inbox or in your question box. And if there's any attendees that ask irrelevant or inappropriate questions, we will dismiss you from the session. So just take note of that. And you are also welcome to send an email to info@impact.co.za if your questions wasn't answered, and if you need to get the answers of the questions which we didn't handle in the session. And please feel also free to join our Impact YouTube channel for recordings of this session. I also want to refer you to your study notes, the CAPS document, the webinars that we present to you, and the guided learning platform, which you can use for assistance with the subject. And also remember the Facebook pages, you can also make use of that to assist, for us to assist you. Okay, let's start with this lesson. First of all, we are going to look at the chef PAT today, only the one. There's two, the chef one and the waiter one. We are only going to look at the PAT chef today. So for you to understand how this PAT works the PAT consists of two tasks. First of all, the task 11.1, which will count 25% of your year mark, the whole PAT, and which this one will count 25% of the 100 marks for the first PAT. That is a written preparation and can be done at home. And then the assessor will mark it, and we will discuss that later on. Then we get the very important one, task 11.2, which is the practical, and these two tasks works together as one PAT. That counts 75% of the task. If we look further, both PATs can be done on one day, or you can do one at a time. So in most of the cases where we do impact assessment, we do both PATs on one day because the parents must drive very far for this. So yeah, let's look at more information about the PAT. So I hope you understand that the PAT consists of two tasks, a written preparation and a practical preparation. And we will look further into that a little bit later. Now, there's two ways that you can assess this PAT. In the first place, there's impact assessments like I mentioned, and that consists of us doing arrangements for the assessors, the venues, and all the other arrangements will be done by impact. Then we will send out an email for you with all the information, and in that email address, we will provide an email address for you to send the proof of payment so that we can put you on the list. This payment is made to impact, and it's for the parents and guidance account. Then also the assessors, which will normally be me and Serena, will put our assessor numbers on the barcoded page. And then just take note that there's always a limited space available. So you need to book this very early when we send out the emails. Then another way to do it is the private assessment. And this is where the learner makes all the arrangements. So in other words, you get your own assessor, which must be approved assessor. So for you to do that, you can find or approve an assessor at this email address here on the screen. So assessors@impact.co.za, just drop an email to them and they will help you with the already approved list of assessors. Or if you have someone new, you can apply and they will help you to approve that assessor. If the assessor apply to the guidelines, we will discuss that just now. Then this payment is done to the private assessor. So, and it is an arrangement between the two parties, which means the private assessor and the parents. So Impact will have nothing to do with this. The only thing that we will be part of is approving the assessor or not. And then very important that the assessor must write then assessor number on the barcoded page, which must be signed together with the learner. And just take note that the assessor marks both tasks. That means the written preparation and the practical preparation. So both tasks must be marked by the assessor for grade 10 and 11. Take note, only grade 10 and 11. Grade 12 has another arrangement. Okay. So for this year, we already organized packed events that will take place, and Impact will do the assessment. Like I said earlier, me and Surina, we will normally be there at this venues, and we will do the assessment with some other assessors. And so this is just for your information. We will send out more info about this later on. We wanted to send out an email earlier in this year, but then we have this lockdown and we just keep the emails first, or we didn't send it out. So we will send out emails early, I don't know when, maybe in the next month or so. We will just see what is going on with the lockdown, and but we will inform you about that. So this assessment is for grade 10 to 12. So anybody from grade 10 to 12 can make use of these assessments in the country. And just to say something about this, we normally look at the learners in a certain province and then we decide on the venues. But for the past few years, this provinces is very busy and all this assessments is very full every year. So we are continuing to do this in this provinces mentioned here on the slide. Okay, then if you do the private assessment, just take note that there is requirements for this assessor. The most important one is the appropriate qualification. So this means that it can't be a language teacher, it can't be a maths teacher, it must be a teacher that has a qualification in home economics, consumer studies, nutrition, restaurant management or whatever. But furthermore, they need to have 3 years experience in teaching grade 12 on level in this subject. So in other words, let's say, for example, you have a qualification in consumer studies, but never been taught hospitality studies. We will not approve you because you have to have experience in this subject and you need to know exactly what needs to be assessed. Also, home economics teachers, if they didn't teach hospitality studies, we will not approve you because at the end of the day, there's a huge difference between consumer studies, home economics, and hospitality studies. So we must make sure that the standard is very high, and therefore we won't approve you if you don't apply to that requirements. Then furthermore, we don't use chefs anymore. In the past we did, but we had a lot of problems with the assessment and the standard of the assessment. So therefore you need to have a SACE number. It means that it must be a teacher for us to approve you. So that requirements is for the private assessors. Then let's look at task 11.1, and that means it's the written preparation. You must do this task before we start with the practical. So in other words, you need to do this preparation before you go to your assessor and do the PAT. Okay, let's look into this task. I'm going to explain a little, a few things that the kids always do wrong. And then after this task, we can have time for a few questions if you have. So first of all, make sure, this is how the form looks, the preparation form. I'm sorry it's a little bit small, but you will have the idea here. So first of all, make sure that you write your name or at the top there and your student number. That is very important. Then name of dish 1 and also name of dish 2. That is the second page of this form. The kids don't normally fill in that, the name of the recipes that you are busy with. Then if we look at this first 3 columns, we will send out some notes about this where I explained a little bit more of what needs to be filled in there. And first of all, if we take an example here, this first 3 columns will go together. So first of all, let's say in your recipe you have cheddar cheese, for example. Let's say 250 gram cheddar cheese. So in the first column, it's the ingredients. You will write cheddar cheese and make sure that you don't just write cheese because we will not know what cheese are you going to use. So please describe it very good there. Cheddar cheese, and in the second one, the amount required in the recipe, so that will be 250 gram, not only 250. Just make sure I do explain it in this explanation in the boxes, the red ones. And then in this column, most of the kids do this wrong. They need to explain what mise en place, and if I can refer to mise en place again, what does mise en place mean? Mise en place means that it's your pre-preparation for your ingredients, in this case, before you start with the actual preparation of the recipe. So in this case, let's say it's grated cheddar cheese that we need. So in the first column, we will say cheddar cheese, 250 gram in the second column, and then in the third column, you would write grated in the same line as that first ingredient. Then if we take another ingredient, let's say 200 milliliters of flour, cake flour, you'll write the cake flour, 200 milliliters, and then measure off or sift if necessary. So it all depends on what needs to be done with that ingredient. Now, I know there's a lot of questions about the ingredients. Let's say there's nothing like, for example, baking powder. If you measure off baking powder, then in the third column, you would just write measure off. So I hope you understand this better now. This has nothing to do with your apparatus. This is for the ingredients. We're busy with the chef task, and therefore we're working with the ingredients in these first 3 columns. Okay, I hope you understand that better now, but you are welcome to ask questions after this explanation. Then in this column here, list of equipment. So now we are going to the equipment. So equipment for pre-preparation or cooking. This will mean everything that you need, or all the apparatus that you need for the preparation of the recipe. So in other words here, let's say we take the grated cheese. You will mention a grater there. You will mention a mixing bowl or a plate where you can grate the cheese in. Obviously, you will use a knife to cut off a piece of cheese to grate it. So there, the kids normally forget about the detailed equipment that they use. Let's say, for example, you chop an onion. So they will just write knife. What about the chopping board? What about the bowl to put that onion in when it's already chopped? So just make sure that you mention all the apparatus. And I normally give the advice to kids that you must take your recipe and go through each and every ingredient and tell yourself, what do I need to measure off this? What do I need to prepare this before I start with the recipe? So in that case, then you won't forget some of your apparatus. So a lot of kids lose a lot of marks here because they don't write all the apparatus there. Then we go to the next one, mise en place of equipment. And in this case, they ask you grease of the baking tray or so on. So that is for your equipment. This is for the preparation of your recipe. This is equipment that you need to do the mise en place on. So like, for example, you can't bake a cake if you don't grease the baking, the cake pan. You need to set the oven on 180 degrees or whatever. So most of the kids always here write, let's say oven, and that is not right, because what about the oven? or they just write baking tray. What about the baking tray? So you must say grease baking tray, spray and cook baking tray, or just mention what you need to do with the apparatus. Set the oven on to 200 degrees Celsius or whatever. So just make sure of that also, please. Then apparatus for serving or portioning. So what I mean here is that you need to mention the apparatus that you're going to use to plate this food or to serve this food. So in other words, let's say we do soup, then we will write there not only a spoon, we must write there a soup spoon and a soup bowl. You will lose marks there if you just write bowl and soup, because we don't know what apparatus you need to use. So please make sure that you indicate which apparatus, for example, soup spoon or table knife or entree knife or fish fork or whatever you need to plate this. And also a food tongue can be used, whatever you're going to use for the plating and for the serving of this recipe that you are doing. So that is very important for the kids to remember. Then garnishing or decoration. Just make a note for yourself that garnishing is for savory dishes and decoration is for sweet dishes. So this, both of them means to make it pretty and to improve the appearance of the dish that you are going to make. So in this case, we will not say, let's say, for example, most of the kids, they write parsley. That's not wrong, but just be creative there a little bit. And let's say you're doing chocolate mousse and you use a strawberry with whipped cream. Then the strawberry and the whipped cream will be mentioned here for decoration. So that's example for you there. I hope you understand that better. And then oven temperature or stove plate and time, setting time needed. If you don't use the oven or the stove, you can just draw a line. So for us to see that you know that there's nothing need to be done for the oven or the stove. But let's say you use the oven, then you will say 180 degrees Celsius, 30 minutes. Or if you use the stove, we will say stove plate number 4 or number 2. If we do a recipe which is like, let's say, a gelatine dish or dessert, then you can just say 30 minutes in the fridge. So you can just indicate there, if you don't use the oven or the temperature, what you need to do, and you will get your marks. Then cooking methods. This one the kids also struggle a lot with. This is not dry cooking methods. This is not moist cooking methods. We ask the cooking method. So in other words, this will be something like bake, fry, even deep fry or shallow fry or dry fry, simmer, boil. It will be something like that. So we don't ask you there in the oven. Most of the kids write there in the oven. That doesn't indicate the cooking method. So that is the method that you use. But we asked especially there for the cooking method. And it means then you need to write there bake, fry, or one of those examples that I mentioned. And then the last one here is the course. Now, some of the kids just write there, can't even remember what they write, but they struggle with this one. Courses are, for example, your starter, your main course, your dessert, your entree. Sometimes if we have like scones or so to prepare, then they can write there for tea time or something like tea, because you won't serve that as part of your menu. So that will also be fine, but just make sure that you write the correct thing there. Yeah, like I explained there, that's your starter, your main course, or your dessert. Which course on the menu will this dish be? And then you will complete the second one for the second dish also. So that is the 2 that you need to do. Now, I know a lot of kids always ask me, let's say you have, in this case, grade 10, we are going to look at your recipes just a little bit later, but you will have more than one, let's say, item that you need to prepare. Then you can put some of the items on the same pages, or you can do it separately. It doesn't matter as long as you do it. Personally, I prefer that you do the one dish on the one and the other dish on the other one. So in this case, for grade 10, we do the cloud eggs with the fillet and the sauce and the ribbons, the baby marrow ribbons. So that will be on one, and then your cheese toast will be on the other one. So there's always two dishes that you need to do, or two items, and that two items or two dishes must actually be right on the first one, and then your second dish on the second one. But I know the space are very limited there, so you are allowed to do it on more than one of these pages. Okay, let's go to the next one. That is your ingredient list. So you'll see we allocate a mark for incomplete and a mark for complete. There is example there on top, and we also give you examples here. This is just to help you to purchase your ingredients. Now in schools, teachers purchase their kids' ingredients. With homeschool, we do it ourselves. So therefore, this is just to help you to sort everything that is together in a shop or in a like a spa or whatever, for you to sort it together and then make the purchase easier. And then I always say, for example, let's say you are the chef and you send your mother to the Spar or to the Checkers or Pick n Pay or whatever, and she read their sugar. Now she don't know, is it white sugar, brown sugar, is it icing sugar? So it's very important for you to mention the correct ingredient there. Like, for example, fresh full cream milk. Is it full cream? Is it 2%? Is it milk? Is it powder milk? You must always mention it and describe it very clearly. So then you'll get 2 out of 2. Another question that I always get is, if you don't know where your ingredient must be written, so let's say, for example, tin foil or wax paper, then you go to your general column and you just write it there. So if it doesn't fit with one of the others, you just put it in the general column. It is also, we will also mark that correctly. So that's the ingredient list, very easy and easy to get your 2 marks there. Okay, this one is the order of work, and this is also very important. The kids struggle a lot with this. In my example, in your study note, and also the notes that we are going to send out next week, I explained very clearly for you what needs to be written in this columns, first one, the second one, and the next that follow. So first of all, most of the kids, they don't write down the time there. So you can't just say 1 hour, 1 hour, 1 hour. In total, you must look, especially if this is your practical lessons, then that needs to be done in an hour, hour and a half at the most. And please let your kids exercise or practice to prepare these meals and to prepare these dishes in an hour, hour and a half. They can't stand there and cook for 3 or 4 or 5 hours, and then they won't get finished with the pat at the end of the year. So just take note that you need to prepare them for the pat, and the pat will be 3 hours. So there's 3 hours allocated for this examination. And therefore, all the time here in total needs to be 3 hours. So most of the kids, they leave out this time. It's very important to do your planning. And obviously, you can't do this planning if you didn't practice this at home. You can't go and do this practical if you didn't even at least practice it once at home. You will get a lot of stress on that day, so it's unnecessary. So please just practice it at least once before you go and do your practical, or more if you can. Okay, so let's start with the mise en place again. Always the general, the apparatus and the ingredients in the kitchen. So that will be things like switch on the lights, open the windows. That's the general mise en place that you need to do. Then also you need to do the mise en place for your apparatus. So that needs, take it out, grease the pan, put in water in the basin. In the first one, the general, take out all your apparatus that you need, and also all your ingredients and measure of all your ingredients. Then your mise en place is done, and you'll get your 1 mark there. Now, the second one, the preparation of the dishes, complete logical steps with integration and realistic order of work. Most of the kids struggle a lot here. So you will see, if we look at the mark allocation, first of all, you need to write your time there. Then Preparation of dishes, step by step, and integration. So integration means, let's say, for example, you are going to do the cloud eggs and the fillet, the white sauce, and your baby marrow ribbons with your cheese straws. You need to integrate this because at the end of the day, all the dishes must be done at the same time. So, and you're not allowed to keep it warm. You need to prepare it, and everything must be done at the same time, and then you need to serve it hot and plate it. So that is practice, 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 and make sure that you do that. So actually you will rewrite the recipe here. So maybe one thing to remember is I always say to the kids that let's say I take away your recipe. Will you be able to use this work order and still prepare your dish? If you can, then you know you answered this correctly. So very important, step by step and integration. My advice here is that you use different colors for different recipes. Let's say a blue pen for your cloud eggs, a red pen for your white sauce, a green pen for your fillet, and then as you go, you will see, okay, green is for this, blue is for this, red is for this, and it will help you during the preparation. So that's just a little bit of advice, but yeah, you can do it the way that it's easier for you and will help you during the preparation. Then also the quantities must be indicated. And for example, there 250 ml. So let's say you do your preparation of the dish, you will say, okay, you set it the oven in the mise en place. Now you will say, mix the, let's say we're busy with the white sauce, mix the butter and the flour together after the butter was boiled a little bit. And then, but not like I said now. So you will say, take 20 ml of butter, melt it, and add 250 ml of flour, which is too much for that recipe anyway, but you know, just take note of what I'm saying. So then at the end, you will also write the quantities and you'll get your marks for that. So that's very, very important. And also here, if more than one recipe is prepared, recipes must be prepared together for the food to be served at the same time. So you get also marks for that. So you can see where the marks are allocated. Then, the plating or the serving. Most of the kids just say, yeah, plate. That's not what we meant there. You must indicate and plan. This is your planning. So you must tell yourself, how are you going to plate or serve this dish? That's very important. So just look at the example there. Serve 200 grams of fillet per person on a main course plate. So you must mention your apparatus also with 1 red chili and chocolate sauce. So that is a good explanation of your plating or serving. And then your closing mise en place, again, general apparatus and ingredients. You must write your time there and also then switch off the lights, wash all the apparatus and put them away, and also store all the ingredients in the fridge and storerooms, etc. So then you have a good work order explained there. So I hope that makes sense for you. Okay, then we go to this one. Very important, what is the idea of this question? We ask you actually to go and see a few ideas or pictures or yeah, let's say ideas of how, let's say for example, you do the cloud eggs. Then we can go and look on the internet or in recipe books or whatever and see how do they serve cloud eggs. So then you take all this ideas, or let's say I just put a few pictures here for you to see. So let's say we take a few of these pictures, your sauce. This is actually chicken cordon bleu. So there's a few ways of serving chicken cordon bleu, and then the sauce, and you look at the plating ideas that we have here, and then you take from this a few. Let's say we take that that way of plating sauce with this type of cordon bleu, and then we plan our own dish for the pack. So I will use that type of way to serve my sauce, and then this way of plating my chicken cordon bleu or chicken roulade, and then I will use thyme to also garnish it. So, and then I need to write what it is and explain exactly what it is. So at the day when you do your PAT, your plating should look like this. Then we know you did your planning well. So that is actually task 11.1. I would allow questions now for 11.1. Please raise your hand if you have any questions, or you can write it in the question box for us to see so that we can answer you.
Okay, the first question that we have is in Afrikaans, so ek gaan hom net vir jou uitlees. Hoe sal mens die foto's kry wat jy kan gebruik om te oefen vir die prakties om die tafel te dek as jy nie apparate het nie?
Goed, soos ek sê het, ek gaan hierdie vraag in Afrikaans antwoord want ek neem aan dis 'n Afrikaanse kind. Ons is nie nou op die oomblik besig met die kelner pad nie. Ons gaan nog 'n webinar aanbied met die kelner pad. So op die oomblik is ons net besig met die chef pad. So ek gaan daai vraag net skiep dan as dit reg is met jou. I just also wanted to say that this webinar is about the chef task. So we will leave the questions for the waiter task later. So we're only discussing the chef task today.
Okay, the next question is, if the recipe does not specify which milk to get, do we write down the milk that that is used, or how do we specify the milk?
Yeah, obviously if the recipe doesn't tell you, then it doesn't matter. Then you can just write whatever you have in your house or what you purchase.
Okay, the next question is, when are both the task practicals meant to be done, the due date for the PAT?
Okay, in grade 10 and 11, we recommend that you do one in the first term and one in the second term. But like I explained earlier, impact assessments take place in May, June, July, and also in September. So for grade 10 and 11, we prefer that you do them in the first and the second term, or in the second and the third term. And it must be done before the November examination. We can do this because it doesn't count towards your term mark, and therefore we can do it until before your November examination. I will not recommend that to leave it until the end of the year. So therefore we recommend one in the first term, one in the second term, if that answers your question.
Goed, die volgende vraag is in Afrikaans. As ons die stappe skryf in die resep by die voorbereiding, as daar te min spasie is, kan ons 'n ekstra blad aanheg?
Ja, ek gaan hierdie vraag ook in Afrikaans antwoord. Julle kan dit gerus doen. Maak net seker dat wanneer ons dit merk of die assessor dit merk, hulle presies weet wat se inligting is dit wat waar moet staan. Of jy kan net daardie bladsye meer afrol en dit net insit. So julle mag dit doen. I just want to repeat this in English. If the space is limited there, you are allowed to add the extra page and just indicate very clearly what information it is. So you are allowed to do that.
Goed, die volgende vraag is, waar kan ons die padtaak aflaai?
Goed, ek neem aan dis ook in Afrikaans. Die padtake kan afgelaai word van my impak af by die plekkie waar jy of die bladsy waar jy jou ander take aflaai. Hulle is almal beskikbaar en jy kan hulle reeds aflaai. The practical tasks are available on my impact. You can download it and it is available from end of February. So you are allowed to download it from there.
Okay, I've done my practical tasks besides the term task. Is it bad or should I be worried?
I don't understand the question there. So you ask if you already done it, is it a problem? If you already done it and you did it properly, then it's not a problem. So yeah, but yeah, if you didn't submit it yet, or your parents or your assessor didn't mark it, maybe you must just look at this presentation and see if you did it properly. You're always welcome to email me and ask advice if you need some advice on these tasks.
Good. That's all the questions that we have at the moment.
Okay, thank you, Serena. Okay, let's go to task 11.2. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about the recipe and so on today. I just want to show you the PAT and what it consists of, and just explain how we want it from you and give more information on the photos and the details and the assessors and so on. Maybe if that is a need from your side, we can go into each recipe for the pats also. So please indicate on the Facebook page for me, or send me an email, or in the questions after this webinar. I just want to thank you also, while I'm busy talking about this, for all the people that participate on the Facebook and to show me and indicate for me what you need from us to assist you with. I do appreciate it, and I'm trying to help you with whatever you need from us to help you with. So thank you for that. Okay, let's start with task 11.2. That's the practical part. So we're done with the written part. You did it at home. You take it to your assessor. The assessor mark it on that day, or whatever the arrangement is between you and the assessor. And then you need to do the practical work. Okay, so this is what we're going to look at now. I know a lot of you don't read through the general guidelines. Now, in each PAT task, there's general guidelines. So I'm going to take this time today to go through this general guidelines because it's very important. And we do see that people don't go through this information. This is in the beginning of your PAT task. And first of all, this is the chef task that we're discussing now today. It is a 3-hour task. So for the practical, you have 3 hours. So let's read through this guideline so that I can explain each one to you. Learners should complete the preparation task before and submit it to MPAC for marking. This is if you use an MPAC assessment, then you must do the preparation beforehand and then submit it on the day of the practical. No late, and this is very important, no late pre-preparations of preparation tasks will be accepted. This is something that you need to do before you do your PAT. If you don't do your preparation, we can't take it afterwards because you need to do your preparation. So it's, I always say that it's not a it's a preparation. It's to get you ready for the PAT. You can't do it afterwards. So we not allow you to do this afterwards. You must complete it before you do your practical. And this counts 25% of the 100 mark for task 11. Then learners must be dressed properly according to the requirements. Please, we get a lot of kids that lose a lot of marks because they don't dress properly. I will show you in one of the slides further on how you must be dressed for this task. Excuse me. Place recipes in a clear plastic bag. This is also something that the kids don't do, so that you don't spill on your recipes and that you can use it in the kitchen. So please do that during your practical examination. Learners must use all the prescribed recipes. You can't choose your own recipes. And I do have 1 or 2 learners that always ask if they can change the recipes. No, you can't change the recipes. We prescribe recipes and you need to do the recipes that we give to you. In certain cases, I will make exceptions, especially with religion. We do ask you to also contact me if there's any problem with the recipes regarding religion. Then apparatus are supplied by the learners themselves, or unless stated otherwise in the PAT email. It means if you use the MPAC assessment or arrange with your private assessment. It depends on if you're going to do the PAT at your house, or are you going to a kitchen, are you going to a church kitchen, or at the school kitchen. It all depends on the venue and the assessor, the arrangement between you and the assessor, or you and MPAC if it's an MPAC assessment. The ingredients is also supplied by the learners. You take that afterwards home, so it's your food and you prepare it. We just taste a little bit and see the appearance and the plating, and then you take that home. So you bring your own ingredients. We don't purchase that for you. If there are any ingredients in the recipes, like I said, that is unsuitable for particular religions, you can contact me so that we can make an arrangement and that I can see that the standard is still high and everything is according to the requirements. And then dishcloths, sponges, dishwashing liquid, etc. must also be supplied by the learners. Okay. Then take your own container. This is also very important. Most of the kids, they forget this. If you prepare, let's say, a cake, then you need to bring a bowl big enough for that cake to take it down. Don't throw it in the dustbin. We don't want that. We don't want to waste food. So please Bring your own in containers so that you can take the dishes home for your parents to taste. Then all preparation of the ingredients, this is very important, must be done during the PAT examination. You can't go to Woolworths and buy your julienne carrots already cut and just bring it to the PAT. You need to prepare all the ingredients. You need to measure it off. You need to prepare the vegetables. So nothing can be done beforehand or bought at the store like I explained. So what you can do here is, let's say you, and always be prepared for something going wrong, especially if you don't know the venue, if you don't know the oven. Let's say, for example, you need 200 mils of cake flour. Then you are allowed to bring, let's say, a plastic bowl with more than that 200 mils of cake flour. So you're not allowed to measure that off and bring it in the bowls and just unpack it and use it, because all the mise en place must be done during the PAT. But you are allowed to bring less of the ingredients. Instead of a 2.5 kilogram of flour, you can just take some of the flour and put it in a bowl, more than what you need, and just make, just prepare yourself for if something happened, to take a little bit more. Then the photos must be taken as prescribed in the task and submitted with the task. This will be taken on the day. So this remains the student's responsibility. But if you are busy cooking, you can't take your own photos. So the assessor, or yeah, most of the time the assessor, because nobody else is allowed in the PAT, then the assessor must help you to take the photos, because we need the photos as evidence, and we can see a lot of things on the photos. So that is very important that we have clear photos, and we'll discuss that later on now. No eating or drinking, because this is the exam, so take note of that. No learner may leave the examination room before the assessor grants them permission. Please make note of that also, because sometimes we do look for a learner and then they're just gone. So if you don't complete your PAT, you will not get marks, even if you attend an impact assessment. And then this is very important. No persons other than the grade 10 or 11 learners will be allowed in the examination room. No parents, no tutors, no teachers, only the assessor and the learner. Because this is a final examination, it's very important that it's only between the the assessor and the learner. And then this is also a very important thing that I want to discuss with you is the fees for impact assessment. At the moment, it's 750 Rand for both tasks. That means that is your chef and your waiter task. And for private assessments also, this is going rate that we prescribe here for assessors. And I get a lot of complaints about, and I just want the parents to take note of this. I get a lot of people complaining about assessors asking 2,000, 1,500 per assessment. If you have any problems like that, please let me know so that we can see what the problem is, because I feel that that is a lot of money to pay, and I know it's very expensive. You need to buy your ingredients, but please let me know if there is people that is really unrealistic with their prices, so that we can just take them off the list, or talk to them and see that we can help you also with this, because it is a very expensive subject. But at the moment, the going rate is 750 per learner. Okay, on the PAT date, please bring the following, and this is very important. Your barcoded task covers for both PAT. I explained to you in the first slide that the PAT consists of 2 tasks, and that also means it's 2 tasks for the chef, 2 tasks for the waiter, and that will be task 12, which we will discuss in another webinar. So for the chef and the waiter, if you do both on one day, you must bring both barcoded task covers so that the assessor can sign that and that we can attach it to your task. Your mark sheets for both PAT tasks so that the assessor can complete it. And then photos will be taken during the practical on the PAT day, not beforehand. On the PAT day, it will be taken. Then furthermore, you must also bring your own ingredients and prescribed recipes. Please bring your recipes. I do get a lot of kids at the assessment venues, and then they don't bring their recipes with. We don't have extra recipes. We don't have a copy machine there to give you some recipes. So please bring your own recipes and make sure that you have all the stuff that you need. Then very important also, remember your necessities like fully for your foil, your spray and cook, your wax paper. That's also things that the kids always forget. We don't have extra there, especially when we fly to Cape Town. We don't take those things with, and we can't use the venue's equipment or ingredients. So please bring your own stuff and make sure that you prepare well before you come. Then your written preparation must be completed and hand in on that day. So if it's an impact assessment, we will take that written preparation, even for grade 10 and 11, and we will mark it and we will submit it to impact. We will also take the photos and submit it to impact, so you don't have to worry about that. Then enough containers for your food, like explained in the guidelines, and also 3 drying cloths, dish soap, sponges, etc. The kids are normally also forget this, so please make sure that you bring that. And no drying cloths will be provided, so please take note of that. You must bring your own stuff, and it is your examination, so make sure that you take everything to the venue. And then, like I said in the guidelines, also the correct clothing. If we look at the chef uniform, this is to kids that their clothes are fine. So if you look at the shoes, it is explained in your tasks, the actual clothes that you need to wear, denim and your apron and your white shirt with your hat, no makeup, no jewelry. This guy has his drying cloth in his apron, so that's fine. And just make sure all the girls don't let there be hair hanging out from your chef hat. Everything must be covered. And also the boys, make sure that you don't have a beard. There's a lot of kids losing marks because of the appearance. So yeah, that is the chef uniforms. Then where do you get your recipes for grade 10? You will see that task 11.1 and 11.2 is one task, one function, and it has nothing to do with the weighted task. So that's a different function. So in this case, you will get all the recipes that you need for the preparation task in task 11.2, which is the practical task, and you need to do for this year the cheese straws and also the cloud eggs with the fillet, the baby marrow ribbons, and your white sauce. So that is the patch for grade 10 for this year. Okay, then very important to look at your mark sheet so that you can see what are we going to assess on that day. I just want to go quickly through the mark sheet. So first of all, it's hygiene and neatness. So your chef uniform, just look there, chef's hat and jacket, pants, apron, and comfortable shoes. That's a big problem with most of the kids. Comfortable shoes. Just make sure that you use the right shoes, like tackies or something that is closed and comfortable. And then general neatness, your hair, your nails, no jewelry, no makeup or beard. A lot of kids lose marks there. Neatness of workstation, the stoves, the work surface, and the equipment while you're busy doing your pat. Make sure that everything is neat. And then also the sinks. Most of the kids that don't wash the dishes regularly, remember this, clean as you go. If you clean as you go, then you will get a lot of marks. So make sure that you are cleaning and you're working neatly while doing your pat. Then this is also a big problem, the dishcloth lying around. That's why I said in the previous slide, put it in your apron and don't let it lie around. And then also handling your kitchen waste must also be done correctly. If you have any questions about this in more detail, we can discuss it with a practical webinar. This is only to just go through the task and explain a little bit of what we are expecting from you. Then the opening mise en place, take out your necessary equipment and appliances and get ready for starting your recipe. Get all your necessary ingredients together. A lot of kids don't do the mise en place and then they lose their marks there. Also the preparation of ingredients like chopping the onions, the techniques that they use, and they also don't put it in small bowls. I'll explain with the photos what we need from you, and they don't arrange it in order of use. So there's 6 marks, and that's a lot from the 75 marks. Then your culinary skills, applying your cooking methods correctly, your techniques and your skills. Work safe. A lot of kids don't work safe. They are very unsafe in the kitchen. And then also working together and logical on your recipes, especially when you have more than one recipe. Use your time efficiently, meaning that you need to incorporate your recipes and everything must be done at the same time and plated at the same time. And then also the ability to finish without questions. Now, I just want to mention here that you are allowed to ask questions, especially if you're not familiar with your venue. So in other words, if you ask a question about the oven or the stove or a gas stove, if we use gas stoves in some cases, we will not subtract marks. But if you are going to ask something about the recipe or the ingredients, which you need to know before you come to the pat, we will subtract marks there. So that is what that means. Then your professionalism. Are you punctual? Are you assisting where we need your assistance, like sweeping the floor and helping in the kitchen? Also your cooperation and together the work that we do in the kitchen with the staff members, and in that case it will be your the other impact learners or the assessor, and then also your behavior and attitude when doing your PAT. I must say that we are very proud of our learners, and in the past few years their behavior was very, very good, and we were so impressed with them at the PAT venue. So thank you for that also. And then at the end we look at the closing mise en place. And that means cleaning up. Oh, the kids, they don't like this part, but yeah, this is very important. And you have to clean up and clean the workstation and put all the ingredients away and help with closing the windows and getting the venue ready and clean as we got it from the start. We are very lucky to use some of the schools in our country, and we thank them also because I know there's a few assessors that's watching this webinar. So thank you for your assistance to our learners and to myself and Serena. We do appreciate it, and it's always nice to go to you once a year or twice a year. So thanks for the venues. And then at the end, we look at your dishes and you get marks for appearance, taste and texture. And also here we look at your presentation and the garnish or the decoration that you use, and you will see that is 30 marks. So that's quite a lot. That's why your preparation is very important. Okay, that is your mark sheet, and that is what will be assessed on the day. Then I just want to look at a few photos. You will see in your task that we ask a few photos of you. Just to say something about the photos. The photos is very important for us to see if the assessment was up to standard, and therefore we are very, very strict on the photos. If we don't have photos, we don't capture the PAT marks. So if we don't see photos, we assume that the PAT didn't take place, and we will not accept the marks. So that is very important to take clear and the right and correct photo. So this one is of the mise en place of the apparatus. I just put a few apparatus together so that you can see. So we want something like this to see you did all take out all your apparatus and you are prepared to start working. Then also your ingredients. Everything must be measured off and put in bowls or in bigger bowls. It depends on what you measure off, or the chopped onion or whatever. We want to see a photo of that also. Then the learner at the end with their dish. And in this case, I just cut off the face there. But we need your face with the dish. And that's very important because some people, it's actually very funny, but yeah, we can clearly see if it's a internet photo. So we know how the photos must look, and we know when it's an internet photo. So please take a photo of the dish with the child, and we must be able to see the face. Then other photos is like during the practical, when they are busy cutting, like for example, julienne, we can see a lot of things on that photo. If you know the subject, you will know what I'm talking about. For example, if we cut vegetables, we use a green chopping knife, a chopping board, and in this case, if it was a red one or a brown one, then we can see that the assessor must subtract marks there, otherwise they don't know the subject very well. But most of our assessors are very good, and we also thank them if they are joining this webinar for their assistance. You can also see on this photo the appearance of the work surface. That's not very good. So you need to have neat and clean work surface while busy doing your pad. We also want to see your dishcloths, the basin, and just take note that you need hot soapy water and clean water here to rinse and then clean as you go. So when you're busy, wash your dishes, rinse it and put it there to dry, and at the end you can just pack everything away and the kitchen is clean. Then this is the actual photo of the dishes. So this is one of the grade 10's dishes, and so we take a photo so we can clearly see the plating and the dishes, and then the hand gloves or the oven gloves, the full body. Please take note of the full body photo. Some of the people, they just sent us a photo, let's say from here upwards, or we can't see the shoes. We need to see everything so that we can moderate, if I can say that word, actually moderate the pad marks. And then also that is a very clear indication of the work surface and how it looks. So this child will not get a lot of marks because it's very untidy there and it looks like a mess. So yeah, that's a lot of things that we can see on the photos. So this is more or less the photos that we need from you, and you're also allowed to add extra photos, especially when a child gets 90% or more, or if a child fails, then you can add photos to support your marks and also to cover for the assessor so that you can see why this child did well or not. Okay, so that is the task 11.2. So if there's any questions, you can put it in the question box or raise your hand so I can answer.
There's one question that asks, are we allowed to wear short pants with our uniforms?
Short pants?
Yes.
No. You will see that the uniforms is for safety reasons also. It's not just me to it's not me deciding on what you need to wear. If you look at normal chef clothes, it's clothes. So no, not the short pants, because that is not safe for you and for your legs. Maybe you can get burned with oil or something. So it must be long pants, please.
Okay, the next question asks, for the chef pad, do we have to come to a venue or can we do it privately?
Okay, there's two ways that you can do it. You can come to a venue or you can do it privately. It's your choice. But just make sure that you use the correct assessor. In the past, I just want to mention this also, there's a lot of people out there who just want to make money and they don't do it properly. So make sure that you are going to approved assessor. If you are not certain if that person is approved, you can always send us an email and make sure before you pay them and before you go to them. So yeah, please take care of that.
The next question is in Afrikaans. Die studente wat die pad by 'n sentrum doen saam met gekwalifiseerde assessor, mag hulle saam gebruik maak van dieselfde tafeldekking, met ander woorde dieselfde tafeldoek, overlay ensovoorts, en net die versiering verander om geld te bespaar. Mag hulle ook dieselfde breekware gebruik?
Goed, ek gaan hierdie vraag in Afrikaans antwoord, want ek neem aan as Afrikaanse kind. Julle kan dit gerus doen. Al wat ons net nie wil hê op die einde van die dag nie, is dat al die kinders se goed presies dieselfde lyk. So dieselfde breekwaarde is korrek. Miskien as julle kan julle dalk die tafeldoeke en goed bietjie afwissel en so aan, maar ek wil nie hê dat almal presies dieselfde moet hê nie, want baie keer kyk die kinders by die ander kinders en dan doen hy presies dieselfde daar. Dit is ook nog maar 'n kreatiewe vak en iets wat voor die tyd beplan moet word, maar ja, julle kan koste spaar deur dit so saam te gebruik. Solank elkeen se tafel net nie presies dieselfde lyk nie. I just want to say this in English. The question was, can we use the same crockery or let's say apparatus, utensils for centers? Yes, you are allowed to do that, but just make sure that you don't use it exactly the same for each learner. They must do their own stuff and have their own creativity in the subject. So then it's allowed.
Okay. Then the next question is, will our nail cleanliness be judged as well?
Yes, that's part of the nails. So if we look at the nails, we will look at your nails and see if it's clean and if it's short.
Okay, then the last question that we have here is with regards to the lockdown. If it prolongs, what will be the solution, or what will happen with the PATs?
Okay, I waited for this question. All of us are very uncertain about the lockdown. I am in the process of experiencing with Zoom, and we do have a few kids that will participate in this. My suggestion is that maybe we are busy discussing this. So maybe we will ask you to do all your written preparations already, so that that can be marked, and then we will see after the lockdown what is going to happen. For grade 10 and 11, that's not a big problem, but for grade 12, it is certainly a problem, and we are in the process of looking into a way. And if we can get this, I don't want to mention it because we just want to see first if it's working, and we can use the Zoom and do an online assessment. And we are happy with the video. We are happy with the photos that we are going to ask to take during that session. And if it works, then maybe we can get a solution to do that in the meantime. So, but we will let you know about that. And if there are any suggestions from your side or any input that you can give me to help us to get through this lockdown, please do so. I will appreciate all the input that I can get. But at the moment, like I said, we are busy trying to experiment with something and see if we can get this done, and yeah, don't get problems later on this year. What I just want to say here is that maybe don't stress about the PAT yet. There's still a lot of time to do it and to finish it. So yeah, but I would recommend that we start doing the preparation, the written preparations first, because then 2 of your 4 tasks are done. So don't leave everything until after the lockdown. That's why we are experiencing with this this Zoom, and I will let you know about that. And please, that's why we did this PAT webinar, because I saw that there's a lot of questions about the PAT, and it's a very important task. So yeah, don't stress about it. If you have any concerns, please email me, ask me questions, or give your input. It's very, I will be glad if you do that. But there's no thing to stress about at the moment about the PATs. We will get this done, and but at least start with your written preparation. That will be my recommendation at the moment.
Okay. The next question is: can we wear gloves while we cook or bake?
Yes, you can do that. It is allowed.
Then can we ask you to come to Namibia after lockdown if possible?
Yes, we can always arrange something like that. But yeah, we just need to organize that with Impak and my manager also. But yeah, it is possible.
Volgende vraag is in Afrikaans. Maak dit saak wat die kleur van die denim is?
I don't. The reason for the uniform was that if we go to venues, we want to look the same, and it gives a good impression. But if you do private assessments and so, I'm not that concerned about the color. At least if you look neat and the rest of your uniform is correct, then it will be fine. It's not a problem.
Okay, then the last question, are there any venues near Johannesburg that we can travel to, that it's not far?
Okay, at the moment, we are using Rista Zoutendijk in Rijmsig for the Johannesburg kids. She's got her own center there, and she started the center for the practical assessments. So you're welcome to contact me if you don't have the details. But yeah, we just want to see how this lockdown goes. And after that, we will try to assist all the kids, even in Gauteng, where we don't do option 1s or impact assessments the past few years, but we will assist, and we will organize venues if necessary to assist you and help you to get this done by the end of the year. So yeah, I think we will do that after the lockdown if it's necessary. Any more questions?
That's all questions for now.
Okay, thank you, Serena, for your assistance there. Okay, so I just want to say that this is the end of our session then. If you are not registered with Impak, please contact us at info@impak.co.za to get more information about our business and homeschool. And then I just want to thank everybody. I know this is a huge task and it's a concern for most of you, especially when you're tutors or center owners and parents. But this is actually very nice to do. And if you know exactly what to do, then it's actually a very nice task. So don't stress about it. Please contact us and let us assist you with all these pet tasks. And thank you for joining us. Yeah, we'll see you in the next webinar.